Cyanide 4, frontman GA SINN. Tell me a little bit about the beginning of the band when it first started.
Yeah, we started. It was April 2008, actually. Me and another guy, we were like very close friends, and we were playing guitar actually, and we were into this kind of bands, like Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, The
Right,
Cult, some American bands like heavier, like Metallica, Megadeth, or whatever. But we were not satisfied from the band that we had in the beginning. It was like a cover band.
right,
But we always wanted to have like a band like W.A.S.P. We really liked W.A.S.P. So back then it was like the movement, with the new sleaze, the wave sleaze of
right,
whatever hard rock, and we felt that we can do it. So we teamed up like one night and decided to start out a new band,
right,
a new direction, like different attitude. And the Cyanide 4 were formed from that decision that we took back then.
right. Wow. Cool, cool. So basically, your first release was a demo EP complex in 2008 with 4 tracks on there. Can you tell me anything about
Exactly.
that? Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, basically, I remember because our drummer was living in another town in northern part of Greece.
Uh-huh.
So I sent him 5 songs.
Right,
So he had to play 5 songs and send me back the tracks so I could record the instruments, the guitars, and the rest of the instruments. But from he skipped one of the songs,
uh-huh. Right,
and he sent me 4 instead of 5.
right,
So like when I saw the files, I told him, you know what, you were supposed to play drums for 5 songs.
right,
He said like the file was empty. I didn't receive the fifth song, so
right,
it was about to be like 5 songs. So actually, we recorded 4.
right,
So we had like almost 15 songs back then.
right,
So we decided to that these 4 songs were kind of better or more catchy or more into what we were trying to do back then.
right.
So like the first song that we did was Temptation Failed,
Uh-huh.
which it's one of the songs that we're still playing live.
Right,
The other one was called like simply simple song, a simple song like Cyanide.
right,
It was the other one was Bad Love Parade, and I think the other one was Wasting My Time.
uh-huh.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it
Right.
was Wasting My Time. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So whatever happened to that fifth track that you sent them?
You know what? I found a file the other day,
Right,
and that song was still there because we were jamming that song. But
right,
I had forgot the whole idea of the song. But
right,
now I have it on my computer, and we are planning to make like an EP or an album, sort of album with all the relics,
right,
all the old cuts that didn't make it
right. Yeah, cool,
to an
cool,
album. Yeah.
cool, cool. So the next one was in 2010, Critical Mental Erosion, and that was on Demon Doll Records. Tell me a little bit about that label and about that album.
To be honest, I don't remember much.
Uh-huh.
I think like most of the songs were the same songs that we used on the demo CD.
Uh-huh.
But we added no, no, Hide in the Saddle was on the demo. So on the EP we added Wasting My Time and a new song that it was called FFL, which translated it means freshly fucked Luke.
Uh-huh.
So it was our first, like, let's say, like, official release from an independent company.
Right.
And Demon Doll Records back then, they were doing some compilations also from this kind of bands.
Right.
So we asked them if they want to release it, and they were positive.
Cool. 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 Now, the next three releases was on Perris Records, which Tom is a friend of mine. So, like, don't say nothing bad about him because he's a good guy.
He is a good guy, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, tell me how you got in contact with Paris and how'd that work out?
I think Paris was releasing a lot of albums with the same style that we were doing
Right,
at that time. And I don't remember who, but somebody sent him an email
right,
that we have 12 songs and we want to make an official release. And if he was interested,
right,
and he was like he accepted. He said, "Yeah, I really like your band, and I want to do it."
right,
So the rest of the story is easy. Like, we sent him the material, and he the front cover and whatever, and he released the album. But that was 2012 actually,
right. Yeah,
and we were working this material for about like a year and a half or something.
right,
But we had trouble with a producer because he didn't do the right job,
uh,
and we had to re-record parts, going back, doing some drum tracks, some vocals, some extra mixing things. So it took us like a year and a half to release that album.
right. Yeah, that was Every Day in the Masquerade that came out in 2012 on Paris. You know,
Exactly.
so you had another release on Paris with 10 tracks. It came out in 2017. Can you tell me anything about that album?
Yeah. It's called Nekyia. It's
Uh-huh.
a it's a Greek word actually, and it means it's been taken from the I don't know if you know, like like Odysseus,
Uh-huh.
Odyssey,
Okay. Yeah.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
When Odysseus went to the underworld,
Right.
and he did a ritual um, to find the dead mantis Tiresias,
Right.
to give him information how to get back home to Ithaca.
Uh-huh. Cool.
So,
Cool.
like, this is a chapter of Odyssey that
Right.
is called Nekyia.
Cool. Cool.
So we took it from because I was reading this kind of books back then,
Right.
all historic books, and we took this name and named our album. So the whole, actually, most of the songs, they're related about themes about death, and how would it be like um, if there's life after death, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
So it wasn't a theme album, but like, few of the songs were talking about
Right.
that.
Cool. 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 Now you also had another album came out in 2022 on Paris again. Can you tell me anything about that album?
Yes, it's called Amalgama, and I would say that was our best release so far.
Right.
As far as like, we're growing up as musicians. We had like different members that gave their input to the album. The sound is like more modern than the old songs or the old albums. We still like it.
Right.
Uh, Many people were freaked out, because it is a bit different, to be honest.
Right.
Um, but I think we developed our style a little bit. We added a few things. We're more mature as musicians, and I think is our best release so far. I don't know if you agree, but I think it's a great release, honestly. Sound wise, sonic wise, lyric wise, music wise. The solos are better. So we were satisfied from the result, to be honest.
Cool. Now, how'd you get a supporting role for the Scorpions in 2010?
Oh my God. Actually, the first gig, because we played twice with them.
Right,
The first gig was 2009.
right,
And I remember I was at this club and I met that girl. We had some pretty good time that night.
right.
And then never heard from her.
Uh-huh.
But the next week, a friend of mine called me, and you know what? There is that girl that you were the other night, and she's asking me about your phone number. I
Right.
said, yeah, okay, you can give it to her.
Uh-huh.
So she called me and she told me, you know what? There is a friend of mine that he's organizing this big event. I know your band. I really like your band,
Uh-huh.
and I think that you are very close to what the Scorpions were doing.
Right. Yeah.
So she said, "Do you want me to give you the contact of the promoter that he
Right.
was organizing the show?" And maybe you can find like a solution. You can play, you can be a support act or whatever.
Right.
And I said, yeah, why not? That would be fucking great,
Yeah.
like open for Scorpions stadium. It was a stadium,
Right. Yeah.
8,000 people. For us, we were in the beginning of our, let's say, career or whatever.
Right.
So um, I contacted that guy and he said, send me your material. And he really liked it
Uh-huh.
because back then in Greece, it was like very unique,
Right.
like to see like guys with uh, hairspray and like
Yeah.
looking like they were like musicians like 30 years ago.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they were like a bit surprised that we came out like fuck, are these guys doing?
Right.
They are very retro. They are very retro.
Uh-huh.
So he said, like, you know what? I think you would be like the perfect support act for that gig.
Right. Yeah.
So we went to Xanthi. Xanthi is in the northern part of Greece, near the borders
Right.
um, with Turkey. And we opened for the Scorpions in front of 8,000 people. It was amazing.
Uh-huh.
Back then, we were really young, young, naive.
Right.
We couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it, honestly.
Wow.
And the Scorpions, they really liked our material because you cannot play with Scorpions if you don't send your music to their manager.
Right.
And if their manager approves, then you're going to play.
Right.
If he
Yeah.
doesn't,
Yep.
you're out.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we were very happy about it. So the next summer, they came to Thessaloniki. That's another town in the northern part of Greece, also in
Uh-huh.
Macedonia. And we were the first band that opened the show. There were two other bands
Uh-huh.
also. So we were the first one, like got all the sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a good warm up, honestly.
Wow. Cool. Tell me a little bit about you got listed Bonfire, W.A.S.P, Lizzy, Borden, Crashdiet, 10. Tell me about those bands that was on your bio.
Yep. I was a big fan of W.A.S.P, honestly,
Uh-huh.
and I was really digging what Blackie was doing back then.
Right.
He was like very theatrical. We're
Uh,
not theatrical, to be honest,
right.
but all this rawness that was coming out from W.A.S.P's music, like was feeling very good for us.
Right.
And I remember we were with that manager at that time. It was like he had like famous Greek musicians
Right.
also. So it was our first meeting, and he said, "You know what? I really liked your music, and it's something different,
Right.
and I really like to be your manager, guys. And we were like, okay, this can happen.
Uh,
And you know what? Next Friday we have W.A.S.P playing here in Athens,
right.
Fast Club. And he said, so what? I said, that would be like a very good idea if we could play with them.
Right. Yeah.
And he said, which is, let me see who's the promoter.
Uh-huh.
So he saw the promoter. Oh, I know this guy, like gave him a phone call, hey,
Uh-huh.
I have this new band and they're really a good fit to play with W.A.S.P.
Right.
So what do you say? I'm gonna send you their material. And the other guy said, yeah, bring them in, like
Uh-huh.
they're gonna be the open act, the open act for W.A.S.P. And I was like, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was really a big fan of W.A.S.P. I really like Scorpions too, but I
Right.
wasn't like
Yeah.
the biggest fan, of them.
Right.
So all the backline was there. We had the guy on the lights. We had the guy on the soundboard. It
Right.
was very, very professional, for us because we were banned like almost a year and a half, and
Right.
all these great things were happening around us. And we felt like, you know what, maybe one day we're gonna be big or whatever, this
Right. Uh-huh.
like every band got the same dream.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And we really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed it. We played almost 50 minutes, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
I still have the DVD from that gig, and I
Cool.
was watching it the other day, and
Uh-huh.
I was like, like every time you watch yourself, you
Right.
find things that you don't that you could do better. I could sing better in this, or like play better in this, and blah blah blah.
Cool. Cool. That must have been like a dream come true, you know?
Yeah, and actually, I met Blackie by accident,
Uh-huh.
actually, because like I didn't know where our dressing room was,
Right.
so I was starting like opening doors.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even knock. So like
Wow.
I opened one door, and I got in, and I saw Blackie with two girls sitting on the
Right.
sofa.
Yeah.
And I was
Cool.
like, hello Blackie, I'm George, and like I'm from Cyanide 4, and we're gonna open the show. And we talked a little bit, like, and then I had to go because I had to do the sound check. So
Right. Yeah. Cool. 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 Now let's get to your new video, "Gone with the Wind." It's kind of a departure from what the music you've been playing. It's kind of a little subtle, and
yeah,
it's a little bit different from the sleaze days that you were part of. Tell me about the new sound.
indeed, indeed. Actually, that was one of the leftovers that we had from 2008.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like fiddling around with that song one day that we were rehearsing,
Right.
and the other guys were like, "Wow, this is a very very nice ballad, ballad song, like."
Right.
And I told them that this is a leftover from 2008 because right now all the members that they're in the band, they're quite new,
Right.
so they didn't know about the material that was we were working on back then.
Right. Yeah.
So they said like, hey, why not? We can put it out as a digital single. We know that this is different, but we're pretty open-minded. And we really like to go different paths, you
Right.
know. And I said like, yeah, we can do it, uh, and we did it. And actually, I don't know if you agree, but this song is not sleaze,
Right. Yeah.
but it's like a rock ballad. It's like a little bit not a country, but this
Right.
got this vibe.
Yeah. I
It's
like it.
like, yeah. And then we just had to find a place that would fit with the atmosphere that songs like is about. So we found a place here in Greece. This is a beautiful place. It's called Meteora. That this place is very similar to Arizona desert.
Uh-huh. Cool. Definitely cool.
Yeah. So like we went there and stayed for 2 days, and we shot the video, and right now you have the song and you have the video and you put it together, and I think it makes it like a great impact. You know, like it's very nice. To be honest, I really like that song.
Yeah. Wow. So who came up with the concept for the video?
Who came up with concept? Honestly, like, you know, like when you're listening to the music, there are like some pictures that coming to your head, you know,
Right.
how this could be like materialized and visualized and whatever. So I said, you know, like Bon Jovi did some songs, like they're pretty similar. They're not the same, but you know, Bon Jovi gave us that idea, you know, like being out wearing a cowboy hat and play the acoustic guitar, and yeah, and the landscape and whatever.
Wow. Cool, cool. Now, since your last record came out in 2022, you working on new material now?
Actually, we were talking about it like a few days ago. We're gonna record one more digital single.
Right.
It's gonna be the same style as we. It's like we're slacking off and we're going back to our roots, you know, to our first album. So the next one is gonna be Sleaze for sure.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So we're planning to release one more digital single, and then from that we're gonna see where it goes. You know, like because nowadays, like many bands, and I'm not talking about metal music. I'm talking about generally pop music or whatever. They prefer releasing digital singles one by one instead of making a whole album, because nowadays the fans, the people, I'm talking about myself also, when I'm like listening to an album, I'm just checking out like 3 or 4 songs, and all the others they are like, you know, I'm not paying attention to the whole album nowadays. And I think a lot of people, they do the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
So like putting out a single one by one, it's gonna stay in their mind, you know, like.
Cool, 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 cool. Now, you in your bio again, you mentioned Crashdiet. Can you tell me anything about that?
I'm a big fan of Crashdiet since the beginning, since the first time I listened to them, like it was 2005, I think. That was something very, very unique, honestly.
Right.
Uh, and make all this thing happen with this new wave, you know. They were the first that they came out and they played this style of music that got like influences from hard rock from the 80s, but it got this freshness, you know, that was very unique. And also the lyrics of Dave Leppard and how he sung the songs and all this vibe and all this atmosphere. It was fucking great, honestly. And then the rest of the albums they have, personally, my favorite is Generation Wild.
Uh-huh. Cool, cool.
I think it's their best release so far.
Right.
I don't know much about their latest album with to be honest, I heard one song or 2 songs, but I don't have like the whole picture from the album. But I really, really enjoying listen to them, and I think Martin is the best how you say, like, composer
Right.
of our generation.
Uh-huh.
And I remember one night I was in Stockholm. I told him that I really, really, really believe he's the best composer of our genre.
Right.
So I know they had the trouble like with the singers. You know,
Uh-huh.
they changed like 3, 4 singers
The
after
new
Dave.
singer, the new singer's gone too now.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but they got another guy, who sounds really good, So I'm very happy with the new singer, you know. So, Perris Records are really the label that brought Crashdiet to light to the people because they were on their sampler. So Perris Records can take credit for Crashdiet, So
really, I didn't know that.
yes, and yes, Tom signed them. They did a compilation with other bands, and they had one song. I think it was Riot, and I think that was on there, and that's how I found out about them through Perris.
When was that? Back in 2005, or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yep. So I know that because Crash is my favorite band. So
Really?
yes,
We have the same taste.
yeah. I saw them twice in concert when they played in New York City. So like I photographed them twice with Simon. You know, but Dave Leppard is the ultimate front man for me. He's like so fantastic.
Yeah, he was very passionate about it, and he really meant it. He really
Right.
meant it. He
Uh-huh.
wasn't like um, he was really a rocker, a rock
Right.
soul.
Yep.
And when you see somebody like performing, you
Uh-huh.
can see if he's true or not.
Right. Yeah.
Because nowadays, many bands they're taking members,
Uh-huh.
and they give them the style, they give them the whole thing. You
Right.
transform somebody, you take somebody that he's not a rocker, and you
Right.
transform him
Uh-huh.
because he got the voice that
Right.
you
Yeah.
want.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Dave Leppard was a rock guy. Simon Cruz was a rock guy. Who else was in the band?
Ollie.
Oliver was a rock guy.
Right.
I'm not sure about the
Yeah.
other guy.
Uh-huh.
What's
I,
his
I
name?
I don't even remember his name, but the
Yeah,
new
yeah,
guy really good. The new guy.
yeah. And I think the new singer, he got another band
Yeah.
also.
Yes.
He's singing in another band.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's the ultimate band for me. So what's the future like for you guys?
Our future, honestly, like there are so many years that we're saying we want to have we want to tour in Europe and
Right.
support a big name.
Right. Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, we were not lucky enough. We
Uh-huh.
didn't have the funds to do it. Well, we had many lineup changes,
Right. Yeah.
so that leaves you behind. If you change members, that leaves you behind at least 5, 6 months or like more.
Right.
So, like many of the people that I was working with in the band,
Right.
they were not so determined to make sacrifices
Right.
to continue playing on another level.
Right.
Um, that's the first part, and the second part is the funds.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you wanted to do a good one, I mean,
Right.
like to support like a big act, so
Right.
people can hear you when you're playing. We didn't have the funds.
Uh-huh.
So now we're still discussing about it, and we are very like determined this time
Right.
that we have to do it. I remember I was talking uh, with your friend from Perris Records, and I asked him, you know what? Why don't you bring us to America for a
Uh,
few gigs?
uh-huh.
And he told me that it's gonna cost a lot.
Yes,
I,
it does.
I really wanted to come to the US at least do 5 shows, 10 shows, or whatever.
Right.
But he told me that is a bit difficult because you need a visa, work visa. You need like.
That's money.
Yes, exactly. So.
Yeah, it's difficult.
If we are invited, we're invited, we can come and play.
Cool. Well, man, congratulations on your career and continued success. Love the new video, Gone with the Wind. Everybody go check it out. And George, it was great talking to you. Would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Rock and roll, yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later, man.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.